This video explores attaining self-mastery through the relationship between our sex, brain chemistry, and the emotional responses generated through male orgasm. We also touch on pornography and how to cut past lovers out of our field and remove blocks with the power of orgasm. Learning how to expand in our heart space and manifesting what we desire through shadow work and more negative means. We also explore why the no-fat movement might not actually be healthy. It's good for men to consciously develop a cycle around their ejaculation, their personal cycle of sexual energy, which includes when, how, and why to release sexual energy from our bodies. A helpful method for this is to follow the moon in either its waxing or waning phases, coupled with ejaculation periods, calculated with Taoist beliefs, which dictate how often a man can come in relation to his age. For me, it's around once every 16 days. When using the moon to support us in developing our sexual energy cycle that increases the chi in our bodies, it's wise to aim for the first quarter and the last quarter of the moon phases to help us transform energy. Unless wanting to really let go of something or someone, then ejaculating into the void on a new moon makes sense. Or, when really wanting to manifest something, sacrificing our power on a full moon to be rewarded with our desires makes more sense. And of course, none of what I said is necessarily true. But understanding the relationship between our mind, body, emotions, and sex is important because it creates the truth of our reality. Chemical imbalances in our brain, to a large part, are created through a neurological feedback loop that is affected by our beliefs, emotions, and feelings in relation to our actual brain chemistry. Our bodies and minds evolve with our beliefs. So although some physiology consensus exists in that a peak ejaculation will create a spike of serotonin and dopamine levels, giving a momentary high that can be addictive, if the man is very committed to non-ejaculation due to his desires and beliefs, then ejaculation can create a sense of failure or guilt within him. Serotonin and dopamine levels are then less, while cortisol levels higher as we experience stress from our beliefs of failure and loss. So, we start to see that the biological science and brain chemistry of what happens when a man physically comes becomes equal to, if not less important, than his beliefs around what happens when he actually comes. So the brain is not a master or a servant to our emotion, and self-mastery happens when we integrate our emotional world instead of trying to control it. So it becomes apparent that instead of only following pre-programmed biology that ensures survival through procreation, we should choose the beliefs that we want to program into our mind about orgasm and ejaculation beyond emotional triggers of guilt and shame, regret, and habits created through trauma. So a deeper, more truer hypnosis is to also work with the body, embodying the emotional information that we wish to experience. I love the work of NLP and great masters such as Tony Robbins and Joe Dispenza. These guys teach us so much, but unless we work with our body's orgasmic capacity through touch and pleasure to rewire our nervous system, we are incomplete and not lifting the body to its highest vibrational frequency. Fortunately or unfortunately, this work is hard to mass produce and works better in small groups and one-on-one until the orgasmic information is truly attained in the body. Orgasmic practices for women are common today, but for men this is less true because to succeed in orgasmic practices as men, we must learn to separate orgasm from ejaculation and to then reprogram our mind's beliefs around orgasm and ejaculation in order to unlock the hidden potential within our sex and the power that comes from integrating all three. Without going too far off topic, Kundalini Bodywork teaches both men and women to change their relationship with their sex through de-armoring practices which changes their vibration and emotional information, eventually resulting in non-ejaculatory and ascending orgasms that take the chi into our brains to fuel our third eye. Mantak Chia is another great resource for information on this, while ascending orgasms are more related to Kundalini and Tantric science from Hinduism, or at least in Western Neo-Tantra as I am teaching it. Through intention work and non-dual psychology, we program universal law into our body. We learn to work with polarity in a healthy way, without resistance and without attachment. We learn how sexual energy, moved to our heart, makes us more magnetic, and thus why women are generally more magnetic than men, which again taps us back into Kundalini and Tantric practices. Magnetism relates to both the law of polarity and the law of attraction. Thus, the law of attraction should never be used unless the law of polarity is present in a healthy way. Anything else is corruption against humanity and oneness, and why so many teachings about the law of attraction are borderline satanic because they come without balance. But back to the topic, following a Taoist ejaculation cycle, a man my age can release a minimum of every 16 days to stop the body from over-depleting itself. Real science and health data for prolonged non-ejaculation does not exist, and no one really knows if there are long-term health risks, especially in relation to fertility, from not emptying our testicles of semen or our prostate of sperm. That's the other way around. Not emptying our testicles of sperm or our prostate of semen, or even our Cowper's gland from the white, clear precum, the cleaning fluid. To my knowledge, longer-term health risks from not ejaculating are not proven, but short-term benefits from short-term abstinence, including benefits to maintaining higher testosterone levels, are apparent when we also focus on developing our beliefs in relation to our male cycle of sexual energy. And of course, if your belief is that only ejaculating twice a year on the equinox will make you godly and give you superhuman powers, then it's more likely that it will. So, to be very practical and personal, I really release outside of the body and hardly ever all three of the fluids at once. The sperm from the prostate, I generally pull the chi into my spine, into the cerebral final fluid, and then up into my brain, sublimating the energy into my third eye, and the semen in the testicles, allowing it to dissolve, or internally ejaculating it to be circulated through my body, eventually out as lymph or urine. The precum often leaves the body when energetic orgasms occur. An ejaculation for me allows me to energetically kick out of my body or transform thoughts, people, and blocks. So if I feel a lot of blocks, for instance, I cannot exercise, or if I've recently been intimate with a woman that I no longer want in my field, then an internal or external ejaculation will allow me to transform the woman's energy, blocks, or negative attachments. In the book, The Inner Marriage, there is a chapter discussing how when a man ejaculates, he often doesn't feel safe to let his sexual energy into his heart because it feels dirty, polluted, or like he will do something bad or violent, losing control. So he comes. He throws the power and energy out of his body to keep everyone safe. A twisted kind of love that is mostly unconscious. Thus, the best place to start in any non-ejaculation practice is in making our desires healthy, desires worthy to live in our heart, while we become worthy of our power. To take this perspective one step further, many of us are programmed to throw our power away, to ejaculate when we think something is wrong, remembering that there are no hard truths in relation to orgasms, only soft ones influenced by beliefs. Maybe it's a kinky thought or desire for more pain than is healthy, or maybe we fantasize about slavery or having power over others, some kind of entrapment story that we would never really want to live out. And as we don't want to manifest it, we throw our power for manifestation out of the body, never granting ourselves the power to create our true desires. Personally, if I subconsciously feel and pick up on the woman's wants and desires, her magnetism might make me come, sacrificing my power for her wish. An unfortunate fact of life that Tantra can aid in teaching us how to better support the desires of lovers without needing to give them our power through ejaculation. Although sometimes it can be good to gift our power to another if they know how to use it and we know how to rejuvenate ourselves. When my own desires are healthy and positive, and I can say yes to everything that I want, then energy and orgasm runs up my spine without ejaculation. To look at this from a shadow work perspective, then when I want to get something out of my body, maybe the energy of an ex-lover, or maybe I felt blocked to exercise for days, or I have some kind of depression in my body, then I can ejaculate this out. And maybe it's best on a new moon, but the truth of that is up to you. So when using the power of my sex to say no to something in order to get my power back, I don't fantasize about what I want, what my heart actually wants. Instead, I allow the unhealed and unhealthy parts of my sexuality to fantasize over what my heart rejects, as then eventually I ejaculate out what I don't want in my body anymore. So my body resets, and then I start to regrow from here. So this is a deeper level of shadow work that uses similar tactics to the pornography industry in manipulating us to having no or very little power by being full of sexual desires. But instead we use the shadow work and our sexuality to release the negativity. There is no right or wrong answers here, only intention, thoughts, beliefs, and desires that are shaping our reality. As we get better at programming the mind and using embodiment practices to work with our sexuality, we use internal ejaculations to defeat our blocks and transform negative energies in our bodies into healthier ones. We are simply aligning our sex and our orgasms with the universal laws of polarity, vibration, and attraction, so magnetism. The practical application of shadow work is controversial and paradoxical and largely created by our own personal beliefs and desires. The whole of reality is created from beliefs and desires. Sexual shadow work in this sense allows us to transform the blocks in the body without losing chi, still enjoying our sex, and maintaining the power that allows us to manifest the world from our heart's desires with the people we love.